Hello and welcome to PPC Live The Podcast. I'm your host, Anu. I'm the founder of PPC Live. And if you're used to hearing advice from PPC experts about how to ensure we are keeping up with the ever-changing landscape, don't worry, you are still in the right place. Every week, I speak to a different PPC expert or industry expert even about the biggest F-ups they've made, but also how they've turned things around, the learning that they've made, the challenges that they had to turn things around to ensure that they're still experts in their field. And now I'm not just speaking to one individual expert, I'm speaking to two experts in the digital marketing field, two people from the fantastic company Opteo, a brand that have been a fantastic support of PPC Live for a long while. And they are people they're a brand who have sent their team to really interact with the community in a very non-salesy way, in a way that really just ensures that they're listening firsthand on what our issues are in this industry. They listen through all the talks, they listen through all the panel discussions, especially where people share what their biggest issues have been, and they take that away to ensure that they're building a tool that responds to what are the customers' issues and what paid search marketers' issues mainly are. So we speak to Adam and Shaquira to hear from their experience of how the mistakes that they've had, especially in the AI industry, and how how as a company they turn things around, the people who were pivotal in those changes, and what were the real challenges to make those changes to ensure that they were keeping up with the AI revolution that we're very much in right now. So yeah, let's go speak to Adam and Shakira. Hello, Shaquira. Hello, Adam. Welcome to PPC Live, the podcast.
Hello.
Hey, guys. So, yeah, I've got so much delight for having these two very wonderful people joining our podcast. As I said in the intro, they've been a long-standing support of PPC Live. Out of the 19 events led, especially, we've got to give a shout out to Ben, our fun leader Ben, who's always bringing the Opteo band together for the PPC Live events. And so we're so grateful that Opteo are sponsoring us this year and always coming to our events. And part of like the benefits is being able to have this nice chat with the people who help to ensure this PPC Live events come alive and continue to go. So I'm just so delighted that there's this opportunity to do this. So a little bit about Opteo and what they do. Opteo have been around for over 10 years, originally as a Google Ads optimization tool. They've now just launched like an early access to a big new version of the platform. So this is kind of their, launching tour. You're going to hear them on loads of other, I'm sure, podcasts and publications talking about this, fantastic new launch. And it now covers multiple channels with powerful analysis tools and thoughtfully integrated AI. It's designed for performance marketers navigating a world that's a lot more automated than it used to be. We know about that. If you're not using AI, you might as well not be doing paid search at all, right now. They're also expanding their agency growth program, helping agencies grow into channels like Microsoft and more recently, TikTok. So if you're managing either of those, they're definitely people worth knowing. And all in all, it feels like it's going to be a big year for them. So yeah, check out what they're doing. There's loads of exciting stuff ahead. But before we get into like the crux of what we're going to talk about, because it is, don't worry, don't do like, oh my God, I know is this just a brand coming to share what they do and how great they are? No, they are going to share F-ups. They're going to, go down the path of being a bit, self-deprecating and trying to look back as where things have gone wrong and, how they responded to that. But so that our lovely speakers, the lovely reps from Opteo a little bit better. They're going to share a few of fun facts about them from, sorry, I'm actually going to get them to do this themselves. So Shaquira, your fun fact, and you'll hear her speak and then her fun fact will really make sense as to why it is a fun fact. Shaquira, what's your fun fact?
My fun fact is, despite this lovely English accent, when I was growing up, I had quite a thick Irish accent. When I started school, I came in with a very thick Irish accent. Obviously very disappeared quickly, and I can't do an Irish accent, full disclaimer, anymore.
Oh, at the beginning of the call, I was going to try and get her to do something, do a phrase, but let's not. For any Irish listeners, maybe we don't set them up. But so how long were you in Ireland for before you left?
Not that long, a couple of years, but it was like formative years. So,
Yeah.
like when I first started school, it was.
Right.
that
It
kind
was
of
quite
time.
quite an Argent pick. Okay. And Adam, what's your fun fact?
It's not quite as shocking as Shakira's, but like being from the northeast of England, proud Geordie, I very much planned and still half do plan to be a professional footballer at some point. So
Oh, I know.
if ever I start, I guess becoming less available, then I finally had the call up from Newcastle United.
Right? Newcastle United, that's the team you'll
Of
100% play
course,
for.
100%. No
Okay.
one else.
No one else. Love it. Love it. But there's another fun fact that I do love as I'm a very music inclined person. Please tell us what your second fun fact is.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I wouldn't have said it's necessarily that fun of a fact, but me and my brother, who also does work here at Opteo, James, shout out to James.
Hey.
We do like to spin tunes on a weekend where you could call us DJs. Bedroom DJs would be the qualifier though. But we just normally get roped into playing our mates' birthday parties and house parties whenever that happens.
Nice. Nice. No, look, it's nice to have a fun thing that has nothing to do with the marketing world and digital marketing work that you do. So you and your brother must be really close. You work together, you DJ together. Is has it always
Yeah,
been like that? Great family relationship?
it has actually really lucky for it to have turned out that way. There's a 5-year age gap between us. So when we were growing up, like I would safe to say we weren't as close as we are now. Like it was just the annoying younger brother who used to get picked on from all my mates. But like as we grew up, we realized that it's like a freebie mate, isn't it? Like if you can get on well
Yeah,
with your sibling, then you got a lot of common
absolutely.
ground. We actually live together as well,
Wow.
which is it would be a bit annoying if we didn't get on so well, but thankfully
Yeah.
we do.
Oh, that's
Mum will be
amazing.
pleased to hear me talk about him so positively.
I'm
So
sure, right? We've got
shout out,
to,
Mum. I'm sure
right?
you'll be listening to this at some point.
Of course. You better send this link to her. Better send this episode to her. That would be fantastic.
I will.
So yeah, going now straight into what we talk about on this podcast. It's all about sharing FF, sharing mistakes that we've made, and that this episode is going to be no different. And really grateful that Adam and Shaquira you're going to be talking about things that have gone wrong. And I'm also grateful for your founder, Guillaume, and, for allowing this to happen. Because, yeah, which tech company is actually brave enough to be like, yeah, we did this wrong? But yeah, thankfully you guys are, being very good at, working on that, creating new solutions for your customers. But yeah, let's get into talking about that. I think, Adam, you're going to kick us off. What is the F up that you want to share today?
Yeah, well, I just want to start off by saying thank you very much once again for having us on. We have been huge fans of what you've been building at PPC Live for a while now. I know you mentioned Guillaume just then. He reminds me ever so often that he was at your first ever PPC Live event. So yeah, really pleased to be sponsoring the podcast for the year and events for the year ahead.
Amazing.
Yeah, excited to share what we've been working on as well. And I guess through the lens of what is I'm allowed to swear on here, aren't I?
Are you allowed to swear?
Yeah, just to clarify. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Through,
hold back. Like DJ, speak in the language that you
I'll go
want to
easy.
speak in.
I'll go easy. Through what was ultimately could have turned out to be a bigger fuck up than what it was if we hadn't dealt with
Yeah.
it the way that we did.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shaquira and I, you may well have recognized our faces if any listeners, or also anyone watching on YouTube, which I've always wanted to say this. Anyone watching on YouTube listening may have recognized names, voices. If you've been an Opteo user over the years, we've been at the company since day 2, haven't we really, Shaquira? Like we missed the risky founding part, but we were one of the first cohort of hires, team members who didn't code, didn't design, didn't develop. So we've grown through various iterations of Google Ads, various iterations of Opteo, learned a fair bit along the way. And talking of such iterations, we are about to release a new version. In fact, we kind of have started to slowly roll this out. And it took a bit of learning and a lot of struggle to get to that point. So I guess that's kind of the fuck up that we're going to talk about today is how, distilling it to a sentence, the rise of AI and automation has changed what it means to be a Google Ads manager. And therefore, by proxy, has very much changed what it means to be a tool that serves Google Ads managers.
No, absolutely. AI definitely changed the landscape for a lot of us. I mean, some of us will say like, Niels Rujman, who was a fantastic like speaker at our last event, and who has been working on scripts, and him and I fell in love, and actually well, not fell in love with each other. Like let's clarify that. Fell in love with automation, fell in love with paid search, and God became really good friends for our love of paid search kind of thing and our love of doing automation. And that's how we became really good friends. And the whole automation thing has been around for a long time, but the fact that it's now became, show, the main show, it was like Google Ads with some automation. Now it's automation through Google Ads a little bit kind of thing. But yeah, so you said that like into like the past couple of years, automation became really big, AI became really big, really. And what was the thing that really, what was slow in the way you guys did things? Was it kind of your response? At what stage as well did you like, okay, we need to be acting faster?
Yeah, well, it's a good question because it's AI. I mean, you mentioned it's not necessarily a new thing, AI automation. Like I remember when I started at Opteo, it would have been 2017 now. It was the year before that when Google started to roll out smart bidding.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I can still remember one of my first days at the office, sat down with Guillaume, and he had his pen and paper out trying to explain to me how a smart bidding algorithm works. And it was all shrouded around this: be aware because customers are going to have worries and concerns about it.
Absolutely.
And for so long, like that was the normal. Like we'd see new automated product released in Google Ads, customer reaction, like user reaction through our support inbox was often like a good barometer. And
Yeah,
for so long, we would always sound strong, but almost like reject it. It was kind of like in the very early days because there wasn't the trust that or the robustness behind these algorithms that there are today. And it took us a while and our users a while to accept that this is the way that Google is heading. There is nothing we can do about it. So we shouldn't keep trying to hold on to the old ways of managing Google Ads. This idea where we're losing transparency, where we're losing control.
yeah.
And Opteo as a solution was always, okay, well, we're going to try and do all we can to help you use the manual alternative to this automated
Mm,
product.
mm,
But we're going to give you the benefits, the time-saving benefits through our own algorithms,
yeah,
which don't require you handing control over to the overlords of the big ads platforms. And it
sure.
was, in hindsight, I think it was probably the release of PMax
Yeah,
when Google really went all in with it. Okay,
yeah,
full black box transparency here, and they
yeah,
took away our ability to muscle in, pull these
yeah.
extra levers. And that was when we thought, okay, we kind of might need to go back to the drawing board here and
Mm,
think about what do we need to change fundamentally
yeah.
to make sure that we're continuing to give our users an edge today and also tomorrow moving forward.
Absolutely. No, that's a very, very interesting and great point. And to be honest, really, really impressed that you guys, I'd say, weathered this storm. I know I definitely feel like, it might probably even be underplaying it for how tools really needed to be able to respond to like, okay, we can't just be like, okay, we'll be the one that shows you the visibility while Google is closing. Like Google like this big behemoth of like, a brand. They've got the monopoly. There's so many like lawsuits against them that it's literally like, yeah, and they're still doing business as usual. So, and honestly, I wouldn't mind it because this is not about putting down any other brands, but some brands didn't make it. Definitely, some brands had the same issues that you guys had. They weren't able to, change the direction of their ship. Their ship had been built such in a very, stagnant way that they weren't able to really respond in that kind of way. But one thing I am curious about, even from my experience that I used to work for a different, tool at some point, were you seeing that your customers, like when like those smart campaigns or smart bidding were working, were your customers not finding smart bidding working well for them? So you guys were an alternative solution, or your customers were customers more apprehensive of this new thing, so they didn't try it? Which
More
one was
so,
it?
I think a mix of the both, but my memory is more so that the latter is what
Okay,
prevailed there. It was definitely wrapped up in this idea where, I mean, again, I'm talking nearly 10 years ago now.
sure.
Like this, it was very much a new thing, and everyone that was managing campaigns at the time, they were somewhat set in stone, or like they tried and tested processes, and like, hey, I'm so used to controlling everything down to daily keyword bid adjustments, and now all of a sudden there's this new way, and we're expected to trust these. I say these algorithms as if they're entirely bad. Of course they're not. Like they stood the test of time, and they're more robust, more refined, but there were benefits to it. We would just give them the security, the peace of mind, and that we can help you with these massive time saving benefits, standardization benefits as well, but just continue using the bidding strategies that you're used to. And in hindsight, as we're about to get onto, maybe we should have took an if you can't beat them, join them approach a little sooner.
Sure. Can I also, it's been too late. I saw this like 5 minutes into the call. Shout out to your hat. Shout out to
Yes.
making, because it's all about that. At some point, Google were just taking lots of things, and one of those things was the exact match issue, and the fact that we'll close variants and everything, and we're like, what is a match type anymore? And whether you like it or not, it is part of that journey into making more things more automated, because it was a matter of, no, you can't just tell us the exact thing that you want to bid on. We're going to decide for you. We're going to decide the variety of that actually exact word that we feel that, your ads should be showing against. So yeah, that was definitely one of those pivotal moments in that area as well. So now going on to how you guys did turn it around. You mentioned the fact that when then PMAX came about, that's when you started thinking, oh, actually, maybe we should do some. Although my memory of PMAX, I don't know about you, is that loads of people complained about it at the beginning. PMAX was a trash fire, and it's really actually only recently with channel reporting and having more access to your search query reports on an asset groups that people are being more, oh, okay, now I have more visibility. But at the beginning, people were a bit annoyed with it. So was it right at the beginning of PMAX coming out that you guys, or you waited a bit? Go on.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. So we actually, funnily enough, very early days in PMAX, we had a really nice value add in Opteo, in that we built a tool which supported or could reveal performance max search terms before they were available through the API.
Wow, okay.
And I think that in hindsight, that probably delayed the motivation behind making this decision to have a
Sure.
big rethink, is because, oh, wow, we can keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
It was almost like an accidental feature, to be honest. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we found a cool way to engineer these search terms and apply what's named called n-gram analysis,
Sure.
adding new negative keywords. And in answer to your question, no, it was probably a couple of years after PMAX was originally introduced. I think it was maybe 2021
Okay.
when PMAX was fully rolled out, the year
Yeah.
before in beta. So we matched that, this gradual rollout and increase in adoption with Performance Max by taking a look at the data we had access to. So primarily user actions inside our platform.
Yeah.
And we noticed that what was the wheelhouse of Opteo for so long, these bluntly daily recommendations to help you manage manual campaigns, starting to trend downwards in terms of numbers applied.
Yeah.
At which point that was what spurred it on, really. It was, okay, PMAX's adoption's going up and performance is getting better, and it's clearly going nowhere. Although last year or so, maybe there's a different angle to take on that. I believe PMAX has started to taper off a little bit in terms of adoption rates. But we just thought that this daily recommendations is being, and holding on to this idea of controlling campaigns in the old way is not going to stand us in good stead for the long term. So that's where we went back to the drawing board. Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I realize I'm talking a lot here.
Well,
break it up in a bit.
Don't worry about that. Shaquira is going to take the stage now for us and telling us from what happened at the drawing board. How did things then turn around?
Yeah, I mean, we, as you know, we spent many months rebuilding the app from the ground up, which was no easy feat. I don't think any tool or tech company decides to take on that endeavor lightly. And it was, I mean, Adam probably agree. It was a difficult year of not releasing much to the public, to users, but behind the scenes being incredibly busy and incredibly stressed out. Yeah, I think we navigated that. Well, we're here now. We're kind of proud of where we've ended up after that year of rebuild. And yeah, I mean, Adam, I know you had some thoughts that you wanted to share on this bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is a case of, the first time ever going back to the drawing board, and realizing that it's not just new small iterations of updates which you've been so used to.
Yeah.
It's ultimately doing a bit of market research, speaking to, first and foremost, our loyal customers. We had hundreds of feedback calls with them about Opteo, of course, but also more importantly at this point about outside of Opteo, what are they actually spending their time doing every day?
Yeah.
This time consuming daily grunt work, which we set out to help users eliminate back in the early days, which nowadays can, in many cases, actually be solved by in-platform automation. You've got your automated bidding strategies, you've got your responsive ads, so you don't need to manage your split tests with ETAs. So it was just a case of thinking, okay, what are you doing? What are we not doing to help you with what you're doing? And that with there was existing customers. We looked at a lot of, as I say, the data, which I guess Shaquira can talk on a bit more later shortly. But also we made an effort, and I'm sure some of the listeners here will agree that you may have bumped into us, and you've mentioned Ben already at industry events over the last couple of years. Like we made a point to put our faces out there and meet like experts in the field to really learn. What do you need? Like, who are we building this thing for? And what are the challenges? What keeps you awake at night? And what we realized, I know it sounds like we've got putting a target on the back of AI and automation here, but it is all a consequence, whether intended or otherwise, of how our work life has changed as a Google Ads manager now that AI is the default.
No.
So sorry, Anna.
No, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. I was just saying absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
Thought long and hard about this, and I think I can distill what we found to 3 points. So first being, the role of a Google Ads specialist we're seeing is perhaps on the decline. Whether it's, I know you touched on and again, don't want to get too political here, but the court case with Google. Maybe there is something to be said in that. There's a default lack of trust at the moment, all-time high.
Yes.
Maybe advertisers are a little less reluctant to invest in Google Ads. Maybe there's also new opportunities have opened up in other channels. What we're seeing is Opteo users who signed up managing just a Google Ads account are now managing a Microsoft, a Meta, a LinkedIn, and in some cases in many cases more. But those are the new channels which we've ultimately decided to roll up into Opteo. Off the back of this big project, we can officially say we are a multi-channel automation tool, not just a Google Ads one, which is exciting.
And what I'd also love you to touch upon, because you're right. Like there's an all-time low in changing tact in terms of trust, Google trust for them, and also a big challenge in kind of trying to make those changes in terms of okay, finally going, all right, we need to get on board with all this AI stuff, and what does that mean for a marketer, and how do we support these paid search marketers in a way where they are more integrated with the other channels, and it's more like they're working for the brand success. I think that's a big thing that has shifted, where a lot of the time the paid search manager's job was to drive traffic. Now you're really supposed to be you might be driving traffic and your PPC might be doing great revenue, but if the business is not making money, they're going to cut your cost. And so you need to know what are the other channels are doing, what are other marketing factors that are going to be affecting what that paid search manager is going to be doing. But what also I'd like you to touch upon is that with those changes, what would you say because you said you did some big market research, went to several different events. I saw those. I got a little bit jealous sometimes, my add. I was like, I hope they're coming back to PPC Live.
Of course you're back. We never leave you.
Of course, I love it. But what would you say were really some of those big challenges for a tool to do? What aspect of that reshifting of that year of trying to really kind of change what you guys actually did? What parts of it was the most challenging for you guys?
Yeah, well, the developers will kill me for saying this, but the boring stuff from my point of view, the data stuff, it's this, they're doing some very clever stuff behind the background. This idea of, we've got 10 years worth of code, which we built to support Google Ads.
Yeah.
Microsoft Ads is pretty similar, but Meta is not at all.
Okay.
So we had to find a way. We're still a small team, and we don't have the time to continue to build 4 individual features moving forward, or 5. So there was a lot of the work behind the scenes went into a way to almost normalize the data between the 4 or 5 platforms that we're now supporting, so we can effectively build one feature, and it can, as close as we can get it, to copy paste across the others.
Sure.
So there's a big emphasis in Opteo of getting all of your channels' performance data in one place, and you don't need to bounce between different ads platforms. holistic view, as you've touched on there. How's the business performing rather than just how's my Google Ads account performing? It was all taken into consideration when we, I guess, redesigned the interface, but also thought about how we're plugging in all these data sources.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that change in data, that's a very good point. Honestly, I think I'm gonna actually, the way I'm gonna promote this episode is like the most honest of an interview you'll get with a tool company as you can get, because you know,
Yeah.
all the tools, all these, like, oh, we do great things, we do this with this, but actually talking about, you know, what are the true, you know, annoyances? Just the software engineers will love you for this. All of
I
them,
don't know whether they
regardless of
will.
what, because you're being honest about how it's challenging. I think we underestimate how much coding it takes to, you know, be an API, to be able to work with the API. And I think sometimes we're like, oh, you've done it for Google, so you can do it for anything, right? And actually, it's important to know, no, you can't.
No,
It
you
might even
can't.
take a brand new learning. It might take a brand new, you know, need to go on another course, and how Meta does things will be different, how TikTok do it. And it's all because they're just trying to be challenging against each other. Like Facebook and Apple, we know, hate each other. So there's no way that because you can code for Apple means that you can code for Facebook. Absolutely not. And that works with all the different, you know, big brands. So I think that is such a very insightful thing for you to actually share with us on that. So yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. So like, how were your customers in terms of this process? Like, you know, was it a difficult time for customer retention? You know, I know we don't necessarily, I mean, every brand has this. Anytime you have a client, your agencies have the issues with like customers come, customers go kind of thing. Was that quite stable for you guys? Or, and yeah, please touch on that.
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't say it was alarming, but it wasn't. It wasn't a period of exciting growth that we've been used to for so long. Like
Sure.
we really were. I guess the reason why we're here to talk about, and I'm conscious of framing this around not being fearful of change, but more
Mhm.
like complacency. Like
Yeah.
we were really onto a winner for so long, and it was, you know, things started to taper off a little bit, and then things kind of started to continue to taper off, and then like releasing new features in the frame of what we were used to didn't really fix a customer retention or customer acquisition.
Yeah.
So bluntly, yeah, I mean the numbers, the lines going down on a graph are what motivate you to have tough conversations and
Yeah.
decide to spend 18 months like on essentially a feature freeze and a rebuild, but necessary. And we're already starting to see the benefits of it amongst the customers who I mean, some of our users have been with us for 10 years.
Nice.
As transparent as possible with them throughout this whole process is, yep, I
Mm.
know things maybe aren't moving as fast as what we would ideally like, but you know, keeping them abreast of all the plans and updates, and you know, in
Yeah.
many cases, showing them what we've been working on as it progresses.
Okay.
I think it goes a lot of some way to just be honest with your customers as much as you can,
Absolutely.
especially and for a SaaS tool again, we're not an agency. It's not like we have personal relationships with all of our clients, so it's really hard to be personally honest with everyone. But you know, whenever someone does have a question, just like tell them how it is. Uh, Ultimately, there's a lot of users that put a lot of faith in us, and we're looking forward to paying it back to them
Yeah.
over the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. How about you, Shakira? Do you what do you feel like? What, because yeah, both of you will have your different like customer bases that you were speaking to. What were you getting in terms of like what was the temperature like for customers during that time of like needing to overhaul?
Yeah, I mean, I speak to customers every single day, like I have done for pretty much like the past 7 years, right? So yeah, it wasn't like a particularly comfortable time, but I mean, we're really lucky that I don't know whether it's just us, but like our user base are a lovely bunch of people. And we tend to have, like Adam said, a lot of our users have been around for years and years and years. And a lot of them, you know, root for us and were rooting for us during that kind of feature freeze, which was nice. And that was encouraging too. I think a lot of it came from, like Adam said, transparency, being honest, having that open dialogue between us and them, letting them into what we're up to instead of just like shutting them out completely because we're nervous or embarrassed or scared. Yeah, just having that open dialogue, I think, helped. And yeah, it
Yeah,
certainly wasn't a comfortable year. That's how I put it.
absolutely. No, yeah, and when you need to make these changes, and when it can be like, because you guys have been very honest in terms of like, you are not quick on the jump to actually make the change. And then it's can be really heartwarming that you have customers, as you said, who are rooting for you. So you're like, okay, kind of a bit of that helps the journey, which is really great to hear. Where I didn't realize how long we've been talking for, but because I've been interested in all of this. But so we're going to have to switch gears very soon, because I'd love us to also touch on the fact of like what you feel like, customers now are being, reacting, or maybe mistakes that you see that coming into, like, when you get new clients. I'm sure they're like, oh, can you audit? We've not been doing this well. Can you help us with this? We'll be ready to get to talk on that. But before we get into that bit, what's one, big takeaway you'd like to leave our audiences with in terms of like that journey you guys had from going to a state of let's help our customers deal with the status quo and get back onto the status quo, to then embracing the whole AI revolution?
Yeah. What the question was, what advice do we
takeaway?
have?
Yeah,
what takeaway? Well, for anyone, I mean, if you're a tech tool, my advice would be to definitely step out of any echo chambers you're in. Yeah, I think all the answers you kind of need are with the customers and with the users. So don't be scared. Don't be embarrassed if you feel like you're on the right, off the right track. That's not the way you say, but yeah, you know what I mean. And yeah, just get out of any echo chamber and just get your face out there. Go to events like we did. Like, speak to the people you're building for.
Yeah, speaking to the customers is a big thing for sure.
Yeah,
That I think
it sounds like a cliche, but
yeah.
it's
But people don't do it enough. That's why it's still being said. Things that sound like a cliche that people always say. I always like, me and my friends will say, we'll talk about some advices that's still being given about on paid search, and people are still going, oh yeah, don't use broad match too much, or make sure it has guardrails. And this lady, she's an SEO senior expert. She's like, really? They're still giving those basic advice? And I'm like, you've got to realize that maybe the reason that advice is still being given is that people are still not adhering to it. People are forgetting. People are literally, it seems like basic to us because we're in it every day. But there are new account managers coming to the scene. There are new brands, popping up. There are new people discovering paid search for the first time, and they're still making these stupid errors because obviously Google is going to push for the strategy that makes them the most money, that common sense to paid search marketers, we know not to do it. And yeah, it all ties in with Google trust. How do we trust Google? And some people, they don't know yet to not trust Google. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that, I would say, overall change gradually, of course not thoroughly. I think you touched on it. Newcomers to Google Ads, it's easier to, or you've got to experience it. Google has to give you a reason, maybe not to fully trust them. I guess as you're starting out, it's so easy to believe the big authoritative figure in, the power pairing of target ROAS and OP max and broad match.
Right. Power pair.
But yeah, exactly. But I think this, I keep going back to it, but it's just the guardrails, isn't it? We're not saying don't use the power pairing. It's just don't set it up and then forget about it just because your average ROAS seems to be good in the end. Like, there are ways for you to, I guess, apply a guardrail that maybe other agencies aren't doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does take looking at things from a different perspective to be able to see those guardrails.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, thank you guys for that. That's been a very genuinely the most honest conversation I've had with the tech tool. I don't know whether I'll be able to do that again. In fact, I might use your episode to implore other tech tools to be a bit more honest, because it's a good fresh perspective. It's a refreshing to have that kind of conversation with a SaaS tool. But yeah, now getting to that whole, like, when sometimes new clients come on board and they're they need help with a certain area they've been doing wrong for a while, and what are some of like those like big errors that you feel brands are still doing, managers are still doing, that you're like, guys, this should be basic. Like we just said a minute ago, this should be basic. Like, you shouldn't be doing this anymore. How come it's still happening? What are some of those obvious, or some of your favorite ones? It might not even be something that's hard or easy. It might just something that has stuck out in your head. Shaquira, do you want to start also?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's quite broad, but I see it all the time. I was saying to Adam, like knee-jerk reactions from PPCs is
Yeah.
something I see all the time, and it manifests for me quite clearly because when PMAX came out, for example, I remember like chatting to loads of people and they just kept asking me, what are you guys doing for PMAX? What do you do for PMAX? They were freaking out. They just heard about this thing coming out. And I kind of calmly ask them, well, what do you want? What do you want to optimize for PMAX? What are you currently doing, manually that you want a tool to help with? And they had like nothing to say. They
Nothing.
had no answer. They didn't really know what they were asking.
Yeah.
And so I still see that. Well, I have seen that historically, and I expect to keep seeing it where people, have really knee-jerk reactions to
Hmm.
new stuff that drops. And it'd be nice if people took a calm, measured approach when new stuff drops
Yeah.
and just sees it as an exciting opportunity to explore something new instead of
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. Absolutely. How about you, Adam? What are your like favorites? Oh my God.
So if I try and link it back to very like a recent sample size, I would say the way that I've seen some users interacting with Opteo's AI, like I
Mm-hmm.
haven't had a chance to touch on it yet, but we've introduced our own AI chat integration throughout the whole of Opteo in the new update,
Yeah.
and it's essentially a standalone chat feature which can tap into like your Google Ads account, our database code base, various web searches, and you can. I mean, we've seen some good use cases for the users that are willing or not willing or understand that AI and LLMs can't always give you a perfect answer
Mm.
after a very short and brief prompt. I've seen some users work with it to the point where they've essentially replicated their daily, weekly, monthly to-do lists for all clients in Opteo to the
Yeah.
point where they save the prompt, return next week, click all the buttons, and all the answers are given to you already because everything's like pre-prompted and given the context it needs to just go straight to relevant parts of the account. So my recent example of this sort of frustration would be just trying to maybe expect too much too soon from whatever AI LLM that you guys are using. Work with it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I expect those for sure. I think if people are, especially for, yes, again, this is for those who are new. We should never forget that the industry is always evolving. The people we're speaking to might be people who just joined the industry maybe 2-3 years ago, because it's the people who've been in this for a long time that we know, give it a while to learn. And the newbies, they're like, oh yeah, dude, the first results is exactly what it's going to do. I'm like, no, it's not. Give it time to learn. So yeah, now also even going into like how AI, what the AI frontier is going to be about. Like, do you guys have any advice in terms of for the future for 2026? What people should prepare for, or just what are your predictions for this year of how the industry, what's going to be like our biggest challenge to really face in terms of the world of AI?
Hmm.
I think we're going to see this like move into this fully agentic future backfire. I think people
Ooh,
are going to,
you think it's going to backfire?
Strong
I mean,
words.
uh, we're
Well,
we're super interested in the idea that it can do even more heavy lifting for you, but I worry that there's a bit of a gap between just fundamental knowledge of PPC and also just businesses, your clients, or your brand, like what are the important parts of that.
yeah.
If you don't have those fundamentals in place and you're relying on some AI agent to actually push the buttons and do the thinking, I can see
Mm.
that backfiring massively.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. How about you, Adam?
Well, I think the big taboo subject, whether it's taboo or not, is AI Max. Like
Mm.
I think the warnings are, I mean, Shakira touched on it just before, like this idea of like knee-jerk reactions and panic. Like I don't really see it being as impactful as like the introduction of Performance Max was. Like it doesn't seem to be a new. To be fair, I mean, PMax originally was an evolution of smart shopping, wasn't it? So it was, and then all of a sudden, Google removed smart shopping and like transitioned everything over to PMax. If I don't know if Google started to do the same thing with getting inventory to appear in like the AI searches on the Google search page, then maybe. But I
Yeah,
think I saw I think it was a talk at your PPC Live. Was it last November or October when you did one? And I think I can't remember the
October.
name of the gentleman, but he was talking about like market share of all the LLMs, and I still think he predicted like compared to like paid like
This
search
was
engines.
this was a
Yeah.
Tug. Right, we're sure
Yes.
that
Yeah.
that Neil Baker from Tug. Yeah.
Yeah, Neil. And it was Neil. Yeah, good memory. And he was saying that the percentage of market share is still like absolutely negligible, but
Okay.
clearly it's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So like it's a case of maybe get in testing early, but don't expect to see the same efficiencies as you would like traditionally in like a bottom funnel search
Yes.
campaign. It's
Yes.
testing budget.
Yeah.
As we know, PMAX didn't perform well for a couple of years after that was released, and
No.
it's
Yeah.
treat it similarly. But I don't think the scale, the potential risk, or the waves that'll be dropped in the water will be quite as big with AI Max, in my limited opinion.
Yeah, to be fair, like, I know some people are going like, yeah, it's working. And all of these things, it depends. Some people are saying that it's totally trash kind of thing. But yeah, it's all about thinking that any new feature, and I'll be remiss not to mention shout out to ChatGPT ads and people who have had their eyes on like, okay, when is it gonna come to the UK? Who knows? Like I'm very intrigued to just hear the word of people who have had the opportunity to test it in the US to start off with. Like, yeah, in the beginning stages are not going to be reflective of how it actually will work on a long term when they actually, then see results and what advertisers complain about and what they decide to, give control, of for that first to advertisers to be able to do. So yeah, that's very interesting. You guys, the two of you have been a fantastic pair to talk to today. Adam and Shaquira, thank you so much. Before we do our final sign off, a nice, fun, non-PPC, non-work question. What if your PPC career were a movie? What would the title be? It could be a movie that is already out there. You could come out with a brand new title. It doesn't matter. Either way works. Shakira, do you want to go first?
Oh, this is a tricky one that I'm not prepared for. But you said the famous phrase a second ago, and I was thinking it's a phrase I use probably every single day, which is "it depends."
It
I'm
depends.
gonna three. I get a lot of questions, a lot of advice. What do I do? Whether it's in Google Ads or in Opteo, and I'm like, it depends. Let's
Depends,
talk.
man. It depends. The Shakira movie. I love it. I love it. Let's do it. How about you, Adam? You can't say it depends now. Sorry, that's taken.
Well, it always depends. That's the honest answer. No. I think because my PPC career equals my career with Opteo,
Okay.
I think it'd be sensible here for me to link it back to the change which is happening here in the product, where we're evolving. So I was thinking about this before the call, of course. Spoiler alert, everyone. Annie might have suggested that she was going to ask this question, and I was thinking about, it's a next level, it's a new phase, maybe some of the best sequel movies that have ever been made, in my opinion. Godfather Part 2. We've got
Mm,
Lord of the Rings Episode 2 and 3, of course. Two Towers: Return of the King.
yeah.
But again, going extra linking it back to AI and automation, I think the most fitting answer here would be Terminator 2: Rise of the Machines.
Oh, okay.
There we are.
Okay. Terminator 2, Rise of the Machines. I love that. I love that. And I love the explanation. We don't need to say more about that. That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, the machines are coming. Although, as Shakira said, it might backfire. The whole agentic world might backfire. So you never
We'll see
know.
how it plays out.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
Just make sure you're saying please and thank you to ChatGPT.
Right? My God, yes. There's a whole conversation about that. Oh, God. Oh, bless you guys. It's been so great chatting with you. Where's the best way to get, the updates of what Opteo are doing?
Yeah, I mean, so we have an early access program that we're rolling out for the new version of the app right now. So if you go to opteo.com/PPC Live, then you can register for early access and you can see everything we've been up to and get into a free trial for the new stuff.
Amazing. And Adam, like any other places like maybe LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting a bit active again on LinkedIn, aren't we? On the Opteo account, Shakira. We've been posting some announcements on, I guess, the early access program, the new agency growth partnership. I mean, feel free to connect with both of us, Adam,
Yeah.
Shakira, our teammates Ben and James as well. If anyone has any questions about what we've been up to, what we've got planned, we would just be. I mean, it's our favorite thing to do, really, is talk to people. Give us an opportunity. We'll answer everything you've got.
I can attest for that. They absolutely love chatting. I'll have them at the events, and I'll be like, "Yep, they're chatting away with some new people, some of the audience servers, and it's great. It's what makes the event so lovely, and so like have that great community feel. So yeah, for those who would love to meet Adam and Shaquira at any future events, our next one is April 29th. That's going to be at Brighton. But we're going to be back in London on like July 1st, I think it is. It's the last Thursday of July. So whichever that date is, we'll be back in London. So yeah, you'll get to have a chat with the fun PPC Live community, including Adam, Shaquira. But yeah, for now, thank you both for joining the podcast today and sharing so many great learnings with our listeners. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Anu.
Thank you very much, Anu. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shaquira. Thank you so much, Adam, for sharing that very insightful behind the scenes of what happens with a SaaS tool when, changes in the market happens, where you have to redirect course. I love that advice, especially from Shaquira, about making sure that you're not sitting in an echo chamber of what you feel that, the customer should do, or what you feel like you've created the tool for. You should not just create the tool for what you think in your head. You should create a tool for what customers need. So speak to your customers so that they can help you lead the direction of what releases that you should make to ensure that you keep having customers. You need customers to ensure that you thrive and survive in the B2B SaaS world. So if you're not listening to them, if you're not creating something that they are going to need, how you're going to survive. So always keep that in mind. So yeah, for more information and the full transcript and show notes and all those resources and links that we shared on that episode, please go to podcast.ppc.live to get all those details. Yes, PPC Live events. We had a fantastic PPC in-person event. But our next event is going to be, our in-person event is going to be in April 29th in Brighton, just before Brighton SEO. So we're really excited for that. I've already gotten speakers lined up. Tickets are going to go on sale very soon, so look out for that. But yeah, keep in mind to join us on April 29th. And actually, ticket sales might already be live already. So go to ppc.live to find out whether you can get your early bird ticket sale. And we're going to be doing 3 stages of the ticket sales this time. We're going to do early bird sale. We're going to do first ticket sale release and final sale release on the week of. So because it really helps to plan to have people buy their tickets in advance as possible. So if you're buying your ticket at the last minute, it's going to cost you the most. So yeah, make sure you're one of the first to get your ticket so that you can get it for the cheapest possible price. Before I leave you, I'm also delighted to share that I am taking on coaching clients. And so, yeah, just to help people with their confidence to really get involved in the industry and know how to navigate it, whether it's from, a client, working with a client, or working with a manager, or working with, an agency, if you're the manager of an in-house brand. Yeah, so let me know. I've worked in all those situations, whether it's about matter of, asking for that promotion or asking for that salary increase. I can help you do that. So yeah, go to themarketinganu.com to book a discovery call with me. It's going to be a free 15-minute call with me for us to figure out what it is that you need so that I can plan our conversations around the specifics, areas of interest that matter to you. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I look forward to bringing more PPC F-ups and triumphs next week. Thank you. Bye.